Well, hello again everybody. As you can see here with me is another one of those nicely restored machines that I've worked on. I've had quite a few here in that kind of condition, and the first sort of time that I had a machine turn up in that kind of cosmetic condition, I always remember thinking, what on earth is this guy bringing this here for? What could be wrong with it? And then you start looking into what's been complained about that might need looking at, and you dig deeper and deeper and deeper, and sure enough, before long you're in it up to your eyes. And this is another example. Now this one here is now all done and finished. I've got a series of videos, I've got a playlist of videos of what's gone on with this one. It is now ready to be ready to go home and be enjoyed and ridden by the owner, or sold if he prefers, whatever. But let's see if I can sort of rattle off some of the things that I've had to deal with on this. One of them that wasn't even on his list of things to do. Now I don't know if anyone's done any more than the mile or so that he said he did on it before he thought it needed looking at after buying it. Whether anyone did any mileage on it before is doubtful, because one of the things was the fuel taps leaked petrol. Whether they were on or off, they leaked from the tap area themselves and below when they were on. Both taps leaked, so obviously I changed them. The front forks, the top and bottom yokes, the pinch bolt. I mentioned this before in one of the other videos, but the pinch bolt in the top yoke and the clamping bolts in the bottom yoke, and the big top nuts on top of the fork there, where the tapered end of the fork pulls into the tapered socket in the top yoke, all that lot was loose. You could slew the handlebars around like this when the front wheel was locked in the clamp in the bike lift. So I sorted all that out. We had the wrong throttle return spring, which was causing the choke slide and the throttle slide to sort of foul each other, because the spring was grabbing the choke slide and that was putting pressure on that, which was jamming the throttle open. I sorted that out. It was overcharging because it had no means of voltage regulation on it, and apparently the battery that was on it that the owner did a mile or so with came back sort of pumped up like a balloon and all hot and out of shape and whatever. So I've put a Boyer power box on this one, so now the voltage will remain stable when the revs rise. We had, by the time I got it onto the road, after finding out that the clutch slipped terribly and it was a job to get much more than 30 miles an hour out of it, I sorted that out and then went out on the road again to find that the rear tyre was terrifying. And actually I've got that here. And I've got that here because I've seen one of these before and experienced it on, there was a Honda XL350 that I worked on for a friend of mine actually, and he suspected issues because the handling was so bad on it. He thought the back wheel was loose to begin with, and it was one of these tyres on it, just the same as this one here. And the giveaway, it's a 418 radial trials tyre. It's, let's see, what's it called? Trail Benissimo. And right there, it's made in Thailand. In USA and Canada for off-road use only. Well, if it's not good enough for the road in the USA and Canada, as far as I'm concerned, it's not good enough for the road here either. But the handling and the steering on the Triumph there was awful because of this tyre. So it's now got a decent set of Dunlop K70s on it. Another thing I noticed while I was changing the tyres, actually, the front was a Hyder now, nothing wrong with that, but the owner wanted a matched set, so we put a pair of K70s on it. Here, obviously, when I took the tyres off the newly rebuilt wheels, look at them gleaming there, central wheel components, wheel rims on them, lovely spokes and everything, nice new tyres. The tyres that were on it that I took off were nice new tyres, by the way. One of them not so nice, it turned out. Now, tell me, anybody, if you think these tubes are new. I would say this one's racked up a fair few years. Looks very grubby and faded. It's a Mitsubishi. No, it's actually been pinched as well at some time. Hasn't gone right through, but it's been nipped. I mean, that's very dirty and used looking, isn't it? Considering it came out of a brand new tyre and off a brand new rim. I don't think so. And this one here out the front, same again. Look at it, it's got all this here from the centre where it's obviously spent some time against a rim and a rim tape, and rust around the valve little washer there. That again tells me that neither of those inner tubes were as new as the tyres or the wheel rims. Someone decided they'd save a few quid and stick some old inner tubes back in. That would boost the profit margin slightly when you're trying to shift this and make a profit, I guess, wouldn't it? By the time I got the clutch biting properly, oh, and another thing I had to do actually, the owner asked me to change the oil and check the oil tank, and it turned out that, as is often the case, the oil tank looks lovely on the outside. It had quite a bit of sludge and grime on it in the inside, so I cleared all that out. It had a full oil change, valve clearance is done. But once the clutch was okay, then it revealed that the gears weren't working very well, and first and top were difficult, if not impossible, to get. And that was one of the last and most recent jobs I've done on it, among many other things actually. So it is now finally ready to go home. I think, did I mention that the handlebars were loose as well? I found that out when I went to give it a shove onto my bike lift. They just went forwards, so I tightened them up as well. All sorts of little things like that really, but nevertheless, it's fully restored. I don't know what it cost the owner to buy this, and I don't know if he bought it off whoever restored it or whether it's changed hands a few times or what, but I seriously doubt that since it's been completed it had done any more than that mile or so that the current owner did on it. And it just makes me wonder. Oh, another thing rather important, there was no oil in the gearbox. I attended to that and put some oil in it, but there was none in it. That could have been nasty if that locked up. And it just makes me wonder who, not so much who some of these people think they are, but do they perhaps sort of overestimate their abilities? Have they got a death wish? Perhaps they don't care if somebody gets hurt or killed on the machine they've bolted together rather loosely in certain areas. And it certainly wasn't fit for anything other than looking at and polishing as it was. But hopefully now it might actually be able to cover a few miles, do what it's supposed to do, and give the owner some enjoyment riding about on this, what is now a very enjoyable and lovely looking classic that actually probably does run and go as well as it looks. But it was a long uphill battle to get it like that, surprisingly.